Are we plugged? Oh, yes. Kia ora, Taurus. This is your reading. Excuse me. For this full moon in Capricorn, which is going to be on the 13th. It's the 11th here today. So all the readings will be up today and tomorrow, just in time for this full moon in Capricorn. So let's just see what the cards have got for Taurus today. I've got a few. I think we'll just leave it at that. And then we'll go through and clarify, as we always do. It's a bit chilly here today, so I've got the fire going. Oh, we've got way more than what I thought. Okay. Oh, look, this is interesting because it's kind of similar. Not the same, but similar to the Aries reading. Remember, these are general readings. They're intuitive tarot readings. And take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Which way did these come out? I think they came out this way. Yeah, I think they did. Okay, so let's see. Taurus, what is the story this week? Interesting times, isn't it? There's a lot. I always say that because, you know, it sort of all seems to be continuing and probably will for quite a long time. But this reconfiguration or, you know, the pendulum of fascism is moving in that right direction, not the right direction. Anyway, let's leave that out. It's just my opinion, but it is my channel, so I can express my opinion. Take it as you find it. So, lovely Taurus, we have the Hermit. This is a wonderful card because we look at the Hermit. When we look at him or her, we see a journey, we see potentially a guide, actually, if it's not yourself going on a particular investigation or a hero's journey, as John Campbell wrote about so many years ago. You know, it is self shining a light within. And there is a heroic aspect to this. Anyway, let's keep going. I'm getting a bit distracted here. So we've got the Hermit. There's a lot to discover within that card. And, yeah, heroism comes to mind. And being a guide for others as well. You know, the Hermit is cloaked, so we don't necessarily see that figure. There is a saying that is basically based around that, which is to know, to will, to dare, and to be silent. It's not something we have to shout out to the world. Anywho, let's continue through here. And as always, we do go through and clarify. We've got the Tower, which is on this deck. It's amazing representation if you're interested in learning tarot. We've got the Eye of Shiva, or, you know, you could look at that and say it may well be the Eye of Horus. This is obviously the towers are breaking down of sorts in order to rebuild, but on another level, it really is an infusion of new insight, clarity, new information. Which, in terms of looking at the storyline today, you know, Taurus, it's like, yeah, well, you've gone on this kind of hero's journey of sorts, and what do we find there? Well, we find great insight, clarity, and new information. Now, this is leading us to a very, with the Empress here, leading us to a place where possibly the recognition of all of that creativity. I mean, we're looking at the Empress, it's the number 3. We see understanding, we see great nurturing. It is the consummate card of mother. Creativity, open, an open-heartedness. A level of understanding which goes beyond, which entails mostly the concept of unconditional love, which in some respects is the domain of the mother, is it not? Because a lot of us mere mortals do find that difficult. Love without obligation, without agenda. So this is pretty interesting. And then we come to the 7s, all about assessment. All about assessment. There's so many options in the 7 of Cups, which is a great thing. We are presented with so many options. But one thing that can happen here is a level of paralysis. I mean, what is real? What is going to take flight? What is actually just part of maybe our fantasy life, our imaginings in the Neptunian realm? You know, what is real and what is not? It's quite, and it can be quite a confusing card. But we are assessing that. And it can simply be that you've got many options at this time after having a level of new insight. So we'll go through and clarify for you, Taurus. Clarify these cards today. We'll pull an art oracle, which is a lot of fun. They're very light. But we'll go through. Let's look at the Hermit. The Hermit. As is always the case, well, not always, I must say, but often, we get the Hermit coming out, reconfirmation of that journey, some kind of journey, development. I mean, it could have been, you know, if you related it to just the here and the now. You know, it could be like going on a course, learning, sort of, you know, going on a retreat. It could be anything. These are incredibly general readings. So we do get that to reconfirm that Hermit. We also have the Knight of Wands, which is a knight that in the realms of fire is very passionate, very, you could say he's, or she, it's not gender, more reactive than anything else. Impulsive, compulsive, and reactive. There's a lot of getting, I mean, there is actually a lot of getting things done in this night that moves quite swiftly. And with the Tower here as well, it kind of speaks of something, of this, whatever these realizations, whatever, this Hermit's journey, this hero's journey, is very fast. Like it is a very fast moving collection of developments that have occurred, is what it appears to me. So let's keep going. The Tower, the beautiful Tower. What was that? Yeah, look, the ultimate, actually, the ultimate in this process here has been to, if it's not, as I say, in a physical sense, even psychologically, whatever has been occurring here has allowed you to get into a place, psychologically speaking, that's a lot more conducive to where you want to go, or it is a space that you're feeling a level, potentially, possibly, a certain level of peace that has not been there for you. You have not felt that for a while. And I say that because the Empress beside it here, there's a great wealth of understanding and grace involved here. After what could appear to be a somewhat tumultuous thing, whatever it is. So, you know, with the Six of Swords, we're moving, you know, the sea here. We're moving across the sea. We've got 6 swords. We're moving across emotional waters, and we're going, well, water, emotions. We're going into a port, to a calmer place, you know. So it's pretty amazing, Taurus. Anyway, let's keep going. We've got so we've got our oracle card. We've got a rockstone mineral, just for a bit of extra. But let's have a look at this Empress. There's a huge level of new understanding in this. Whatever has been going on for you, Taurus, I mean, let's just see. I kind of get this thing that that something, whatever it was, something didn't seem to follow on in a predictable manner the way that you expected here. This is this beginning of this sort of storyline. And that was the beginning. I mean, that was sort of the activation for you. I say this, we're looking at the Empress, consummate mother figure here. We've got the 5 of Cups. Now, all the 5s are really somewhat conflictual. They're lesson cards, for want of a better word. We experience something in order for us to learn from it, but to understand the state, to understand that position of disappointment, of having only one perspective, which is where we see those emptying cups, but we don't see the 2 behind us, and it's just a case of shifting perspective here. I think you're realising the sort of capacity of or the expansiveness of your, how would you say, emotional body, and that you've kind of gone beyond. Well, you've had to. I mean, I think something has occurred at the beginning, as I said, an activation of sorts, and you've had to go beyond what, I mean, I'm talking just a personal evolutionary step here for you on a heart level, Taurus, just on a heart level here, which is quite a big, it's like you say, just on a heart level. It's not just, it's like a massive deal. And so there's a broadening of understanding. There's also a level of new confidence in your ability to actually alter and shift your own energy as well. But also perspective is a big thing here. So we get 2 cards coming out, which just came out. I wasn't really looking at anything here. We get this little devil there here. And we know this is about, you know, we get trapped by our own thought forms. We create these you know, things that attachments, dependencies, whatever. We create these, could be in just a thought form, which is quite a real sort of anchoring thing, even though it's just a thought form. And then we have the 2 of Wands. Wonderful card, the Two of Wands, because you see, as I said, you see your expansiveness, your capacity, your authority in your own world. So it's really it's a wonderful card to have sitting beside here, because it's sort of as if you've overcome some even if it's just in terms of perspective, you've kind of overcome, understood certain attachments or dependencies, possibly, that maybe don't really serve you anymore, you know. So interesting. And let's look at the Seven of Cups, please. Seven of Cups for Taurus. Seven of Cups for Taurus. I've sort of been a bit stubborn. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, these many, many options. We've got the Nine of Discs. Independence. Look, I kind of see a Taurian, you know, really kind of standing out. Not on your own, I don't mean it like that, but in a position of great independence. Now that could be in a material sense, yes, but it's more in that you now fully understand the level of independence that you truly have within yourself, is more to the point. Now, this Nine of Discs, you know, we're in this place surrounded by what we value. Self-made, the general shtick of this card, you know, self-made, independent, metaphor for the soul, this garden that we are in. We're very comfortable. We're quite, we don't really require anything here. And yet we're presented with many options, right? We don't feel that we really require anything, but we've got all these options. Because we're venturing, we're kind of stepping or dipping our toes into a Neptunian zone here, you know, where what appears to be one thing is not necessarily that thing. It can be challenging. But I do see a Taurus standing there quite confident in your independence. And maybe it's a new thing for you. Maybe it's a new feeling. A sort of psychological confidence of your own independence. We then have Four of Swords, card of respite, card of rest, and a card that really, in my mind, kind of fits with the Hermit very well, because in some ways it's not, this knight comes home to rest, for some respite, to recharge, all of those things. And I kind of, you know, it's interesting reading Taurus. I sort of see that in here, that you've kind of picked yourself up. I mean, this activation of sorts has brought in, has kicked off this process, is what I mean. And that was something, the activation itself was something that you didn't, that you had an expectation that it would go in a certain way, and it didn't. It went differently. And that's what sparked this all off, which is interesting. Let's get an oracle card for Taurus, because they're quite delightful. Art inspiration. Oh, Le Corbusier. Just put my glasses on. Le Corbusier. art, life, inspiration. Theory makes perfect, practice makes problems. Well, there is some truth in that. Sign your name in concrete. Go big and go home. You can have everything here, Taurus. Go big and go home. I like that. And then we'll just get a little rock mineral crystal card. Yeah, interesting. Some, you know, to a certain degree, it's somewhat confusing reading, or possibly I'm slightly distracted. It's a bit chilly here today. But Taurus, we have beautiful red jasper for you. Nurture. Hello. Determination. Relaxing. And tranquility. So nurture, determination, relaxing, and tranquility with red jasper. It's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful stone. And look, I'm just going to get a journey map card. It's from my own deck. Excuse me, Taurus. Actually, just get one card to top it all off. So there's been quite a massive learning process. And I think it is a case where you really see your own ability to bring into form that which is what you need and you require. But there's also an expansion, Taurus. So we have desire. We have this desire, this just feeling life force flowing, and going with the waves of that. And that radiates out to others, of course. And then we have fruition. This is about putting a lot of, there's a gestation period, putting time and effort into planting those seeds, and to not be surprised if what appears to be a non-event actually turns out to be an event that is so amazing, explosive. A non-arrival turns into a massive kind of arrival. So Taurus, that's your reading for this full moon in your fellow earth sign, Capricorn. So take good care. I hope you're keeping warm if you're in the winter, and you're keeping cool if it's in the summer where you are. So thank you for joining me. Do take good care, and we'll see you next time. Ka kite, bye. Bye, Taurus.